Hey guys, it's Vera Wylde, and I am back again with more tips for beginning cross-dressers. We're actually going to revisit something that I talked about before, which is body hair and getting rid of it, specifically talking about legs. Now, the last time I talked about this, I talked mostly about shaving, which is how I personally tend to get rid of my leg hair. Something that I didn't talk about is epilators. I didn't talk about them before because I'd never used one. Well, I have now. I bought one. The one that I got is from Philips, and it's one of the more inexpensive options out there. The reason this one was not as expensive as they can sometimes be is this one is plugged into the wall in order to be used. It doesn't have an internal battery that you charge, which tends to be part of the reason some of them run a bit more. But I do feel that in terms of overall quality, this was a good representation of epilators. It did exactly as it was supposed to do, from what my research into these told me, because I did look into this a bit before I got started. So I am going to talk about the good and the bad things about using an epilator, but first we're going to talk about how it actually works, if you're not already familiar. So if you can sort of see here, what we have here is a series of discs, basically, and they spin and rotate. Now, effectively what that turns this into is a set of high-speed electric tweezers, because as the discs rotate, they catch the hair and then pull it out, which sort of is the main thing. It hurts. I mean, just take a pair of tweezers, yank a hair out, that hurts. This is doing that to your whole leg. Now, I'll come back to that, but let's start with some of the good things. If you are using this, the main selling points are that it lasts longer than using a razor, and that is absolutely true. It's actually a little bit difficult to judge how much longer. I would say for me 2 to 3 times longer than using a razor, but the reason it's hard for me to say exactly how long it took for the hair to come back is the second benefit of this, which is that the hair comes back a little bit thinner and a little bit finer. When you, as you've probably experienced, when you shave your legs, the hair kind of all comes back at once, and it's kind of got stubble, and it really just, it comes back with a vengeance. Now, when you remove the hair fully, like this, it doesn't all come back at once. Some of it comes back, some of it grows back slower. When it comes back, it's thinner, it's finer, and so you're not going to notice it coming back in. It's not going to grow back in for longer in the first place, and then even when it does, it's not going to be as immediately noticeable by sight or to the touch. Now, there are the problems. I mentioned the pain, because make no mistake about it, this does hurt. The pain itself wouldn't be such a problem if it wasn't for the second issue, which is that this takes quite a while to use. Because the thing is, at this point for me, using a razor on my legs, I can be done in about 10 minutes. It's very quick, I'm used to doing it. No matter how good I get with using this, it will never be a quick process, because there's only so fast that you can work this along your leg. And as you go, you're gonna find that you have to redo the same areas several times in order to get all the hairs that are there. And as a result, this does take quite a bit of time to get all of the hair off your leg, especially for cross-dressers who have to deal with hair all the way up into the thigh, whereas women, usually they get to stop at the knee. So with that in mind, this is a little bit of a mixed bag. What I would say is, if you are dressing more regularly and you want to basically maintain hairless legs pretty much all the time, this is certainly a pretty viable option. Because as long as you keep up with it, it gets a little bit easier every time because the hair is coming in thinner and finer. So it will always take a little bit of time to do, but it won't hurt quite as much as long as you're keeping up with it. Now, if you find that you're only able to dress a few times a month, something more in that neighborhood, and you're only removing your leg hair at those sort of infrequent times, you're probably going to want to avoid this, because this takes so long and hurts so much if the hair has grown in fully on your leg that you might as well just shave it. It's just going to be faster and much less painful. So a good idea if you are maintaining But if you're only shaving your legs or, you know, removing the body hair, on occasion, I wouldn't really recommend this just because of how long it takes. So, I hope that you folks found that helpful, found it a little bit educational. Using this was certainly an education for me. And until next time, guys,